Part 3, the interesting yet slightly dusty nostalgia section in which Al insists on having every single month because he loves talking about the possibility of the 80s erupting and coming back.
Returning on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox.
Isn't it his contract that we have to do this, otherwise he won't appear?
Something like that, yeah. It's also that we have to provide him with biscuits and coffee and take him to Burger King before we actually start anything. He likes getting looked after like that. It's okay. Right, if you've been watching wrestling in the last sort of week or so, you'll have noticed that Christian, who recently re-signed with the WWE, made his television re-debut in quite possibly the most disappointing fashion in the history of mankind and wrestling in general, on ECW, chasing the ECW world title from Jack Swagger, which gets my adrenaline pumping. I don't know about anyone else.
As I said to Tom earlier, you know, you should have just went outside, bought one off the souvenir stand, and just, you know, done it that way.
Yes, very probably. Yes. So we were thinking, obviously Christian's become the second person, or is he the third? If you count Tyson Tomko, is he the third?
And don't forget K Quick.
To go. True, yeah, I forgot about K Quick. So there's a few folk now sort of gone to TNA when its initial stages and now come back.
Who's the other one?
Gail Kim.
Is she back?
Oh, she's back?
Yeah, she's re-signed like 6 months ago.
Has she wrestled though?
No, not in WWE yet. This is the big sort of thing. It's like, well, she's been there sort of the last 5-6 months on a WWE contract, but they haven't actually used her yet.
Has she been injured? Or?
Well, no. Feel like, you know, nothing that you can't recover from 6 months.
Well, I don't know, you know, she has been fighting the Awesome Kong, you know, quite a big lady, you know.
But the tragedy was, that gave TNA probably the best quality matches they've had in ages.
They were good. Good matches.
They were really good, them matches.
That woman can move.
I think that's the advantage that TNA had at that time, was the fact that they had one thing that they could do better than the WWE, and that was women's wrestling.
I think it
wasn't
good.
It wasn't like the hair pulling, kind of screeching and kind of diving all over the place with
running around with very little.
Yeah, it was proper wrestling. It was really good, them matches actually. And now, as soon as Gail Kim goes, and Scott D'Amore, who was the coach behind the women's division in TNA, left as well.
They're not following the WWE, are they? They're following the WWE.
Yeah, they're just going to go down that route again. Now you've got Christy Hemme, God love her.
Oh, she's still there?
She's still there. She's one of our friends on MySpace.
Is she? Oh,
if you're watching, not like hell, but yeah, hi. You know, you've got God love her, she's alright, but you know, it's not up to the levels it was sort of 6 months, a year ago.
But that's it in the WWE, isn't it? They're more bothered about getting the female wrestlers on the pages of Playboy.
It's more tits and ass.
And
yes.
sort of like, you know, it's more of the well, it's more sexual attraction really that they go for instead of the wrestling side of things, which
true, yeah. I
mean, it's quite disappointing.
But we were thinking about jumping ship and famous examples of when, well, in the good old days when you could go between WCW and WWE, famous examples of guys who've gone from one to the other, or indeed back again, or and the disappointments and best moments of. I was thinking probably the greatest one I can remember, anyway, as far as value to the company goes, would probably be when the Radicals jumped ship. From WCW to, well, WF as it was then. When Benoit, Guerrero, Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko went over. That was quite phenomenal.
Maybe not all of them was a good film.
Well, yeah, but that's with retrospect, really.
No, they all had a good career, a good first year anyway, and then obviously Malenko and Saturn sort of dropped off. I think Malenko retired and became an agent, didn't he?
I think he still is. Actually, he's still a road agent.
And Perry Saturn, he was a decent enough wrestler, but they couldn't quite find a gimmick, hence the mop. You know, they couldn't quite find a dress. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, do the dress.
Yeah, why did they do that?
God knows, because they like devaluing previously important
was it Vito that wore a dress as well?
Yes.
That's
just stupid.
I remember reading a wrestling magazine though, and reading the letters page, and there was some guy who just admitted to himself being a cross-dresser, saying it was a really strong role model. That there's a guy who's cross-dressing, and it doesn't make him an namby-pamby, it just means he can kick some.
But, I mean, without knowing, did Vito enjoy wearing women's clothing, or did they just tell him as a wrestling gimmick, you've got to wear it?
if you are Vito and you're watching like hell, get in touch, theburningtable@hotmail.co.uk, and tell us, did you enjoy wearing them down dresses, or was it just something they made you do?
Well, Al, we could ask you a couple of questions on this front.
We could, but it's a wrestling talk show, so that's what we're
Is this a story I don't know?
Yeah, anyway, we'll move
Moving
swiftly on. We don't
Right,
really
moving on.
anymore.
Who else was there that jumped?
Well, Lex Luger famously.
Yeah, Lex Luger famously jumped and became the narcissist.
No, but he jumped back. That was the
Yeah, he
famous
went-
one because his contract ended on like the Sunday, and he told Vince he's going to resign as soon as his lawyers sort everything out. And if you turn on to WCW on the Monday, he's on their show. But obviously, before the days the internet was really popular, a load of people in the audience thought he was still in WWE, so it was a big deal.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And
Was that also the lines of when Alundra Blaze went over, but she
Yeah,
managed to
dropped
take the
the-
women's title with her, and she
dropped
dropped the
it
women's
in a
title
bin.
in a bin
but Ric
on
Flair,
Nitro.
Ric Flair actually took the title to WWF in '91.
Yeah.
When he fell out with WCW, and in them days to carry the belt, you had to put a deposit down on it. I don't know how much it was, 50,000, something like that. So he fell out with the promoter, and he says,
And they wouldn't refund him his
"Yeah, he
money,
says I want
so
my
he kept
deposit
the
back."
belt.
So he kept the belt.
Yeah,
you know,
I remember that.
and then obviously, I think they tied it in the storyline quite well when Jack Tunney blanked it out and stuff on television. You had to, remember when they used to blank it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where all that started. I didn't know that, I just found out not that long ago.
Oh.
That's where that storyline came from. It was the proper World Championship belt he was wearing.
That was when WCW were aligned with the NWA?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the NWA one
And,
time.
and that happened. But obviously Flair ended up going back to WCW and then only came
Yeah.
back when it finished.
Regarding Lex Luger, you'd probably leave the company that shoves you on a bus when you're particularly in America, purely because you hip tossed some fat sumo wrestler on board an American sort of boat.
Yeah, but I never liked that storyline.
No,
Rick,
it wasn't a body slam, it was a hip toss.
Rick Rude actually did it because he appeared. He's quite famous. He appeared on an episode of Nitro and Raw on the same night.
Did he?
Yep, Raw was pre-recorded, and he did the pre-recorded taping, and then his contract ran out, so he appeared live on Nitro on the Monday night.
When was this?
In back end of '97.
You could ask him if I had any fart, wrestling-wise, and he could tell you. That's
So,
what
yeah.
he done yesterday. He'd have no idea whatsoever.
He appeared on both shows.
What did you do yesterday too?
That's
What happened to
when he was
1992 in
DX's
wrestling?
enforcer
Oh,
or
Yes, he was in
insurance policy or whatever
he was
it was
staged as
called.
DX, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's when it happened.
Any more you can think of?
Well, obviously Scott Hall and Kevin Nash was a famous one.
I
Probably the one that built.
I would not counting when
WCW.
sort of like everyone just went over to WCW.
That's pretty much how it started with him too, wasn't it? When everyone started going over for
Yeah,
money.
like because you had Bret Hart, didn't you? Then you had
Bret Hart was
Hogan.
forced, did you?
Bret Hart was
Yeah.
kind of forced, really.
Then you had the worst one ever when the Ultimate Warrior kind of got sacked and went over and then done his big massive long speech, didn't he? Which everyone was like, what the hell is he talking about?
The story goes that Hulk Hogan wanted WCW to employ the Ultimate Warrior purely so they could have a match at Halloween Havoc, purely so he could get his win back from WrestleMania 6.
But I bet
Yeah,
Hogan was just thinking as soon as he got into the ring and took the mic, he was thinking, oh God, not this again. No.
Yeah.
And the cockpit of the plane. Hulk Hogan. It's like, no, not again.
No. That was terrible.
It was, wasn't it?
You had
You're sitting there thinking, what the hell's going on? What is he talking about?
Yeah, I often think that during the Ultimate Warrior. Was it not weird with the Ultimate Warrior though? When you were like 8, you thought it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, he'd run down to the ring, he'd beat someone in a couple of minutes and run back off
But
again.
now you look back, you think, no, it was just lame.
Sorry, I don't look back and think that at all.
Oh yeah, sorry, because it involves the numbers 19 and 80 something. So you love it with a passion.
But when he gets to the ring, Al, he's half dead. That's why his
He
matches
doesn't have to wrestle in minutes, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, that's the problem. You couldn't do anything.
Hey,
Goes
he's
round with-
so good he beat Triple H in 2 minutes, eh? Don't get better than that.
Yeah, that's it there. Anyway,
Wouldn't do that nowadays, though.
20 seconds left of this rambling.
Alright.
Quick way to take 20 seconds into silence.
Yes. Can we have another coffee?